So we join back in with our adventurers after last week. The group had mostly spent the time trying to do some shopping, but also trying to figure out a way into the Twisted Mangrove, secret-ish hideout of students and other magical folk, and um, as we ended, you sort of pieced together a potential passphrase, while Eleni and Ichi rested and recuperated and sort of gathered their thoughts for what might come next, and what next steps might need to be taken. Now that Dante is all Dante. So we joined as you were sort of you met up at the temple and had a bit of a chat, and then you sort of waited for. I didn't know if you wanted to go dead on midnight when you were supposed to.
I think we said we were going to go a bit earlier because we didn't actually know we don't know the passphrase, do we? We just know where it is, and we know that.
Didn't we say that I might go and be invisible and try and listen to somebody else say the passphrase so that we?
It was something like that. I knew we were going to effectively be around the area and hide and just wait till it happens.
Yeah, because you guys have tried singing things and it hadn't worked.
Yeah.
I personally thought, say, my rendition of First I Was Afraid, I Was Petrified was wonderful.
Yes, it was wonderful.
You missed that, Beacon.
No, I was there for that.
Were you?
Yeah. You did that last session. I was there for that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember things.
So don't you worry. I was there. I witnessed.
He has not forgotten about that.
And I never will.
Etched into his brain.
Okay. So maybe around 9:30, 9 o'clock, start making your way over. The temple is maybe 25-30 minutes away from the actual place itself, so giving yourself some time to get over there. What are the rest of you planning to do, and how far do you want to put yourselves from? Obviously, you can show Eleni and Ichi the very large mangrove tree in the Academy Gardens.
Is there any whether it be a roof?
I mean, there's
some bushes,
shitloads of places. It is a big garden with lots of tropical plants. Like, it's purely more of a distance than if there is some, if that makes sense. So how far do you want to sort of put yourself? Because obviously there are large pathways for people to walk. It's it's a park, but there are also randomly big bushes in the center of places that are all decorative and stuff that you could probably get inside.
I'll be as close as I possibly can, but still hidden.
I'll use my cloak and disguise as a bush.
Okay.
So you mind giving me some assistance?
Is a plant.
Yeah.
So hiding the fire ganassi, wonderful. Right.
I'm ignoring the fire ganassi who's trying not to burn the plants that he's hiding himself with, and I'd like to go and talk to the mangrove tree. I have speech of beast and leaf. So it says I can communicate in a limited manner with beasts, plants, and vegetation. God, that's hard for me to say. I've been doing a lot of talking today. It says they can understand my words, but I can't understand them in turn. But I do have advantage on charisma checks to influence them.
Okay.
So I want to sort of go and introduce myself to the mangrove tree and maybe let my moths out a little bit and ask it permission to hide in its branches, sort of not just to climb up the tree or just to sort of go up and actually very politely.
So give me a persuasion, okay. And it is obviously at advantage. And then after that, can you give me a perception as well?
Oh, nat 20 for a 20.
Oh.
on the persuasion. So, and a perception.
Yeah.
Is a 19.
Okay, so there's soft shifting, but not anything major. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's almost. I've been trying to ponder whether Eleni might have seen treants.
I do also speak Sylvan.
So I think definitely nothing on that level. So like it's not like earth uproot, tree moving, but there's like almost like as if the breeze is just blowing the branches. But as that happens, it's almost like the wood shifts ever so slightly, and branches move apart, and it almost gives you your climb up is with advantage. As it sort of presents you over, like, it does take it about a minute, right? As it just sort of slowly shifts in place, but it does present you a nice path up into the.
Wonderful. I will say thank you, and I'll sort of stroke the bark, and then I will climb up as carefully as I can and try and find a good spot in the branches. I want to be able to see people approaching because I can go invisible, but obviously only for like 6 seconds. But also, if I'm staying very still, won't my cloak allow me to sort of merge into the background as well?
You'll get your advantage on stealth while staying still up in the tree. When you put a hand on and sort of say thank you, you almost feel like a soft rhythmic pulsing, almost heartbeat like, but too musical to be somebody's heartbeat, if that makes sense.
Okay. Interesting. I'm not sure what to make of that, but yeah, I will climb up, and yeah, I'm going to try and be as still as possible and try and just merge into the background until I see someone. Actually, I can cast invisibility as well with this cloak, can't I?
You can.
So yeah, I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll do it if I think somebody's approaching the tree.
Okay. Everybody else's stealths?
I was leaning over to Voda and be like, do you mind giving us a hand?
Yes, I will give you a hand.
Which one of us are you giving a hand? You're giving Dante?
Yeah, guidance, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that so much.
Oh.
Don't think
Not a very convincing looking bush.
At least I'm not going to be here too long.
17.
6. I have disadvantage on stealth.
Because you do look like a plank, but you're wearing full armor.
Yeah. Who the
So
hell?
with a disadvantage, could they cancel each other out?
No.
10.
Who the hell put armor on that cactus? Wait a minute.
You're gonna have to disrobe.
Or just run.
Oh.
I just imagine the idea of just being like, you go, no one's got to see me.
Sir,
put your arms down. Oh.
But yeah, so you begin to wait. You're waiting good 10, 15 minutes before you notice a group of students that they're rushing but trying to look like they're not rushing, and they're heading directly towards the tree. And as they get closer, so Ichi, you're like in your position with the bush, and the rest of you are sort of where in your positions, and you would see there's 3 of them, and one of them just sort of blitzes straight past Ichi, doesn't seem to notice anything, sort of walks up to the tree, but then like halts and definitely like starts to take a bit of a look around. One of them leans. He's trying to act nonchalant while the other one looks around, and he leans up against Ichi with his nat 1 perception.
This guy's like
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
And for Ichi though, the other guy he's with is also starting to try to look nonchalant, and as he goes to like start to have the conversation, you know, the fake conversation, you and him just lock eyes, and he's like you see the look of like, why the fuck does that bush have eyes? and he's like, bro, and he's definitely started to back away from you. And he's like, why are you hiding in the bush, man? Bro, get off him. And he'll like push him off you.
As that can happen, Ichi then just kind of like takes a breath out and goes, sorry about that. I heard there's some kind of like fae around here, and I was seeing if I could catch a glimpse of them, and then your friend lent on me, and sorry.
Drop me a deception.
The hell did my dice go? There it is. Sake. Deception. 7.
As he says that, I'm gonna cast, like, put my hand out under and cast Gust, just to make a whistling effect and leaves to move around, just as a distraction.
Ah, there they are. The Fae! I knew they were here. And Ichi's gonna go just running, blitzing past them and out the door like, ha-ha! Like a madman.
Yeah, all three of them like watch you fully running all the way towards like, it's like you quite a bit from the like exit of the park, but it's just like more park. So, you know, you just sort of like blitz off into an area with a fountain or whatever, and they do watch for a minute and Volu, you were probably here, but one of them being like, fuck was that? And the other one just probably just like, probably drugs, man. Probably drugs.
Yeah, it feels very much like that teacher from Fairy Odd Parents. It's like, fairies!
Yeah. Like, well, what you see as they sort of start turning, they start again sort of like having their nonchalant conversation, but also just sort of being, one of them's like, I don't know, maybe he's got divination, he thinks. You know, some of those guys are pretty loopy. It's like, yeah. And for Eleni and Dante that are a bit closer to the tree, the other guy sort of takes his look around, had definitely waited and had another look after Ichi running away. And then they, first off, they don't have an instrument of any sort, but it's just sort of like bum 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 bum. They do the rhythm that Volu had figured out last time. And then they lean in and whisper to the tree. But so Eleni, you can hear this, your passive is enough. Dante, I need a roll. And for Eleni, they simply say, the Ritzer gave birth to Alar Moonshadow. And again, they sort of lean back and they they're definitely trying to keep an eye around themselves, but you would notice, Eleni, they keep hand on the tree.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, what originally just looked like knotted wood opens, and quickly but not forcefully, if this makes sense, the student is taken into the tree.
Okay.
What was the little bottle thing that we mentioned about before? What was that?
That was the hole, wasn't it? And you could see in it.
Yeah, so when you did the little boom, a little hole opened.
And then you have to whisper into it, and then it like swallows you whole.
Yeah. you would see then 30 seconds later, the next one sort of goes up, does the same, next one, and then there's quiet for a moment.
Just to let you know, Dante definitely didn't hear anything with a tune.
Okay. Can I see anybody else heading in this direction, Liam?
Not like with intent. There are people milling around. There are people sort of like, there are just nice areas around the mangrove to hang out and sit. And you can see some students finding places, but not with like intent like those three were.
Okay, I'm going to try and climb down very carefully. I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing, and I'm just trying to, do it quietly. And then I would head towards the bushes where I think Volu is.
I only got a 10. It's not a very obvious bush.
Okay. But yeah, I would head over there. And do I know where they are? Can I spot them? I've got a passive of 17.
Yeah.
So I'd head over and I'd say, I think I've got it. And I'd sort of wait for you guys to come out of hiding. Where's Ichi?
You meant skipping off down there. Didn't you see him?
I was trying to keep very still. I heard something, but I didn't see which way he went.
No. He was talking about Faye and he was skipping. I'm not really sure. Maybe
Okay.
it was one of his order things. He can be quite strange from time to time.
Do we want to wait for him? Are we all going in, or is it just you guys? I mean,
We said we'd meet the person at midnight. We could probably just have a quick look. It looked like he was just running a little bit. Maybe he didn't leave.
so it's up to you. The guy hummed a bit of a tune. Then he put his hand on the bark, and he said, "Larixa gave birth to Alar Moonshadow."
Yes, that's what
that kid shouted.
Yeah.
Oh.
But he did have his hand on the tree. I don't know if that makes a difference. I would probably do the same. Do you know the song as well?
Boo, 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 boo.
That was it.
Volu would remember it for sure.
Yeah.
Did it sound like the same heartbeat as the tree by any chance?
What did it, Liam? Did it sound like it was in time with the?
If you put your hand on the tree, it does sort of that. It's almost like a.
Same as that pulse.
It's more like a drum beat from the tree, but it is.
I would say yes.
Like a sequoia rhythm.
I mean, I can wait out here for you if you like, or.
I mean, we're already looking at potentially buying some.
I mean, if you're just shopping, you shouldn't be getting into any trouble, right?
I mean, what trouble could Volo and I possibly get into?
She's just going to give you both a very direct look. And then she's going to say, in which case, I will hang around here and wait to see if Ichi comes back.
Probably around now, you'd hear a slight, almost as if someone's trying to be quiet. You just hear, ching, ching, ching. Seeing you all kind of like stood there, just like.
Yeah.
It confidently steps out. Yeah. All according to plan. No one ask any questions. What's happening?
Well, we have the password.
You said no questions.
Yeah. We have the password.
Lovely.
So it's just we were just discussing how much trouble Volo and Dante can get into on their own.
As a challenge or as a hypothetical question?
Apparently, it's completely safe to leave them on their own.
More of an inquisitive question, I believe.
We've just been us two all day. You were sleeping.
I was going to say, I don't
Ichi was
feel like
guarding the sword.
I think like it's not that they would get into trouble. I think it's more trouble finds us as a group regardless, and
well, we all know we're not very good at hiding.
Speak for yourself.
I didn't have any trouble.
No, to be fair, I'll say that. Paul, like say, Volu's stuff beat my passive, so like. Oh, I do want to just ask though. Have we got the giant like lead case with us?
Do you have it? You would have brought it.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
Because
unless we've hidden it under the bed at the temple or something.
Which I don't think Ichi or Dante would really allow to happen.
In which case, it's probably strapped to my back.
Just got this door strapped to you.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love that.
But also, does that mean we don't want to take this in there? Or how are we doing this?
Keeping it with us is probably best no matter where we go. If we do all go in, it should be fine because if it's within a lead box, people
they shouldn't
won't
know
be able to know what's within it. So
let's head in then.
Okay, I'll go over to the tree. Go. Hello, old friend. Give it a pat. Do the boom, 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 boom. And then, what was it? Larixa gave birth to Moonshadow.
Alar Moonshadow.
Alar Moonshadow.
Oh, Moonshadow Jr.
Oh no, that's father. Alar's father.
Oh.
I did look up his name.
I've forgotten it again. Orkin
Moonshadow is Moonshadow Jr.
Yeah.
Moonshadow Jr. is much better.
It's a much easier one to
know. But yes. So, and is it just Volu with hand on at the minute?
No, I'll be there with him.
Are you all?
I think we're all planning to go in, aren't we?
Yeah, let's do it together.
Makes change. No one's wandering off or anything.
I know, right?
Yeah, says the one who normally wanders off.
So
that wasn't me. How many more times?
As you're speaking, there's a shifting sensation that for those of you that have been through portals, feels very much like that same, almost like churn in the stomach. As you sort of are brought within the tree, and as you're brought into the hollow of the great mangrove tree, the gnarled roots begin to shift beneath your feet and wrap around you for the briefest of moments. There's this sensation of weightlessness, almost like the tree deciding whether to let you in or not. And then gravity vanishes. You plunge downwards and begin to fall, but almost immediately the curve of the tunnel becomes apparent, and you begin gliding, twisting, and spinning down this almost like long, swooping roller coaster ride style entrance. Below, you can see glowing the glowing lights, and as you pass, there's bits of like almost like luminescent graffiti on the inside of the tunnel as you pass it. Different languages of you can see half done ones of people that tried to etch their name halfway through as they continue down. All of them using this sort of glowing paint as you sort of speed towards the light. The air becomes thick with the fresh scent of sweet tropical fruit. And finally, you are thrown out before feeling the same sensation as Featherfall hit you. and you land in a large area of pillows and cushions and other things that sort of laid out just for this purpose.
Do you think this could be like a new base for us?
I don't think it's ours.
As you look up, you see all along the ceiling thick, soft moss and luminescent petals lighting the place with a soft glow. Before you sit up and see the twisting mangrove begin to come to life, and there's an almost cheer from all of the students as you landed with a heavy thump on the landing zone.
Oh God! As I appear with them, and those three guys that just came in are like, "Fuck."
As you sort of sit up and like, because it does fully throw you prone, and like almost softly such, so you're like laid down into like a forced, comfortable position almost. As you sort of sit up, you see that the cavern in front of you just pulses with energy. A hidden student haven alive with flickering lights and whispered secrets, and the hum of rebellious magic. A large driftwood bar dominates one side of the space, woven from twisted roots, glowing soft mushrooms that cast eerie shadows. A halfling bartender barely glances up as a student demands another drink, and the shift color. So you'd see that they start handing over a drink that's like shifting color and bubbling as they hand it over to the student. You sort of look around, you can see on the far wall there's a large flickering fire pit that dances with different colors and different lights. Students sort of huddled around, and occasionally one of them throwing a small bit of powder in that causes the smoke to dance or move in certain ways. And in the so you've got, sorry to fully describe this, north wall is the large bar. In the northeast corner you've got the fire pit. It's almost like taking up that entire corner. In the northwest corner, there's almost like large, comfy booths that you can see have curtains, some of them drawn, some of them open, but it's almost like a quieter space for people to talk. And sorry, what's that? And then the rest of the space is almost taken up with the dotted seats and other things, but people dancing, people having fun. You notice a student that seems to be floating lazily on some sort of magic. You would actually recognize from your dealings with the Glass family. It looks like they've taken apart a steam engine and are like using the steam to just allow them to basically like lazy chair around the room, like on the floating with their drink in hand. You would see that there's a bard in one corner, and as you notice, I would say that there are, for Ichi especially, there are two of the students in the room that grab attention immediately. There's, in the corner, sort of sat in one of the booths, fairly outspoken and loudly, is a large GIF. Now, you have only heard of these.
GIF as in GIFF.
GIFF, a large humanoid hippo-like creature.
Oh, I thought you meant GIF.
Yeah,
No.
I thought you meant like Githyanki.
Nah.
No, a GIF. So for Ichi looking, you have literally only seen these in the picture books that Bruce showed you. They were encountered in the astral plane. They pretty much keep to themselves, so it wasn't ever like, they're not high on the list of things that will just come and attack us for no reason. So you've read about them, you've never encountered them, you've never had to like look into them that deeply. And however, you would say just from the sort of size, this one does look to be adolescent. You would gather they are still a student. And then there is also sat on the other side, and this one also would grab Volu's attention. The bard that is currently playing out magical notes is an Eladrin. only found on the Feywild. And dancing joyfully, clicking along with maracas, Volu would recognize the disguised form of Kanda.
Kanda.
None of us met them, did we?
No, it was a brief encounter while everyone was distracted and dealing with their own things. And then a little chat outside, but they haven't encountered each other since that time. They're sort of on the far side from you, like on the west wall, Volu. If you imagine this has spat you out, almost like on the far east side. There's almost like this entire area is just like pillows and other comfy things that for catching people that enter. What would you like to do? There's a number of people moving around. I don't want to bombard too much, but you are welcome to take a look and see what's here.
Is the guy we're meant to be meeting here?
You don't see them.
What time is it now?
But probably only about 10 to 10. 10
Yeah, so
o'clock,
they're not expecting them for another 2 hours.
Should we have a drink?
Let us drink. Dante goes up and buys a round.
Oh, bloody hell. Dante's spending money.
Yeah, Jesus.
Damn.
He buys shots for the random people next to him as well.
Wow.
Only like 3 people.
Well,
I was
so
going to say, are they of drinking age, these students?
you approach the bar first off, and you would see a small, almost like wiry-haired halfling woman. However, from looking at them, they still again look older than some of the others, but still almost student-like. And Dante, as you approach, you almost recognize in the silver flecks in the hair, that is almost they've interacted with something too closely. Not your flavor or something, clearly, but something like that might be influencing, affecting them. There's definitely shifts in their form that you're seeing due to something. They barely look up as students are grabbing, asking for things. Yes, how can I help you?
4 beers, 4 and 7 shots.
Beers we can do. Shots I would advise you take a look. And they motion over to you a menu. And as you sort of glance over, none of the shots are alcoholic.
Are they magical?
They are.
I'll have 3 from the top, 3 from the bottom, and 1 in the middle.
Good night. Okay, that will be so it is 5 silver for did you say 4 beers?
Yes.
And 10 gold for the shot rack.
Done. And then he's just going to gesture to 3 people next to him and be like, I don't know what these are.
Okay, so you hand those off to a... You see that there's a fairly young-looking set of students. They are... Sorry, my brain is nothing. You see an orc, a furbolg, and a dwarf. And they just sort of... thanks.
I feel like it's wasted on a dwarf. They've got resistance to poison.
They're magical. It's magical, not alcoholic.
Essentially, Dante, and as you actually look at this, that's a potion. It's like something, right? Like it's not like there's almost the same magical essence bubble off it that you would expect on a call. But they have been flowered up as well. Like one of them has whipped cream on the top and sprinkles. Like one of them's got One of them's got like a little umbrella and like an orange
Oh, my
peel on
goodness.
the rim, like fancied up, but
Is
definitely
this what
a
we're doing
potion.
when we're at your house, Chris, in a couple of weeks?
I'll get some bottles in.
But yes.
So yeah, just be like, here, we have time to waste. This could be fun, and this is the first night of freedom that I think I've had in a very long time. So just hands out the beers. I don't know what these do, and they're all different. So
Can I observe them? Try and figure out what they are.
why spoil?
So
Why spoil the
really,
fun?
the only way you could try is to like watch around the room potentially, but unless you've got alchemy skill,
Oh.
or identify one by one, which will only help you. And just to let you know, so there are 4 different types of potion. So you've basically got like 4 of each. Obviously, you gave 3 to
The randoms.
the randos. Did you do 3 of the same? Would you have done?
No. Every single one of these is different. 3 different at the top, 3 different at the bottom.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So there are only 4 shots on the thing. So they basically gave you like a set of 4, set of 4, set of 4. It's almost like you actually see from what they've given you, this is like an order, right? Something they have regularly that people just order.
Oh,
like,
okay.
You know, like a paddle that's got the holes in already. So you having a look around, to be fair, you would see that the menu that the shop bit is on is written rather than the alcohol menu that's there. So you imagine it's whatever they've cooked up.
Whatever the thing is, each one of the ones that we have are different to each other.
Okay, that's fine. So let me just have a quick look. See, so is anybody going for the whipped cream? Somebody said they wanted a whipped creamy one.
I feel like Beecham had the whipped cream, and for some reason,
Yeah.
the little umbrella to me just said like Volu.
Sure. Sure.
What the other 2 look like?
I'm getting that finding that now. As you're sort of looking as well, and you're sort of gathering these, some students do sort of start to you sort of like shout like shot, and you take a look up, and there are like floating hammocks that are just sort of suspended from nothing, like almost like into a bag of holding sort of vibe. It like disappears into the air sort of thing, and they're just sort of softly floating, and they've just sort of by chance drifted over the top of you. You see a tiefling and 2 humans sort of like. There is a shot round there that you see like people are sort of shouting, cheering for you to do the shots.
Oh, wow.
Good days. I remember these days. It's absinthe all over again. I love it.
So one of them is a little bit of a thicker shot and has a sparkler sticking out of it.
I mean, that has to be me.
Okay.
Thick and like flaming.
And
So what am I left with?
one of them is Eleni, as you pick up the last one, it's almost like like Goldschlager with all the like glittery bits.
Oh, yeah.
But it's almost like it's being twisted. Like like you'd have to shake the bottle normally to. It's like it's permanently bottle shaken Goldschlager, like shifting gold flip.
No, we like Goldschlager. That sounds good.
It's like your insects.
Yeah, like the moths.
This was almost designed perfectly for us.
Yeah, I love umbrellas.
Okay, so as you all do your shot, so Dante, interestingly, this is kind of interesting for you because for some of it initially it doesn't show up as much. So you like shot it down, and it is like it's almost the fireball level sort of heat, but obviously again less effective for you as you just sort of like and you sort of breathe it down, And for the rest of you, as you look, it looks like he swallowed a light bulb. As you see this like orb of light sort of sink into his throat and then dissipate. And then for a moment, there's no sort of real effect. But then all of a sudden, on the side of him that isn't burned, all of his veins start to glow brightly. And almost as he sort of like looks and extends his hand, small little sparkler flicks out the end of his fingers, going no more than like literally a few centimeters. But it's almost like each of his fingers are little sparklers. And as you sort of wave your hand onto, you're able to do that sort of, writing in the air thing that you do with sparklers, but with your fingers.
That's pretty cool.
Can I do? I do my best to not cast a spell.
Okay. As you sort of breathe out, there's a little hiccup, and there's a smoke pops out your ears.
Big fan. Big fan.
Eleni, as you shot down yours, there's almost like a tingling sensation all the way down your body. It's like weird that you drank it and then your entire body tingles for a moment. And for Eleni, you don't really notice any change. But for everybody else, when she's still, it's there's almost like a soft shimmer on the edges of her. But as she moves, she's got like trailing after images.
Oh.
That sort of trail behind after her. And as she sort of, wait for Eleni, you're seeing it almost more spectrally, whereas for everyone else, it's like bright colors and shimmering patterns, and they're almost covered in this strange illusion that causes movement to cause shifts.
That is cool.
For Ichi. Oh, this one is kind of cute for Ichi as well. So as you drink your whipped cream one, first of all, it's almost like your normal flowerage begins to bud, but then you notice that flowers that don't grow on you, like orchids and other things, are starting to just sort of grow off you. And you imagine, so obviously each you understanding the difference in the biology, you imagine that if a normal humanoid drank this, it would turn their hair into plant life, almost similarly to yours.
Oh, wow.
And in yours, it's having like an enhanced growth effect as it's sort of growing out. Different plants from different areas, ones you've never seen before. And
Different plants in different areas.
Different flowers from different areas.
Of the world.
Oh, not growing from different. Okay.
No.
Different
Suddenly
plants
underneath his armpit.
from different areas.
Yeah.
And I think for each of there's probably is a bit of a further, but maybe on the shoulders and where you maybe have normal spikes of plant growth, it's almost enhancing that area. And finally, with the umbrella, you drink down your shot, and for Volu, you washed with this chill, like you've never felt so relaxed, and you didn't even realize you were stressed until you drank that shot and realized how stressed you were. And as you sort of make a noise, there's almost like a you realize your voice is like 4 baritones deeper. And
is he like a Barry White volume?
You dropped a load of octaves.
But not just that, you're struggling to talk fast. It's like, even though you can think at the same speed, you are stuck talking.
Can't get enough of your love, babe.
That's funny.
These are cute. I like these.
And there is a general cheer. Some other people sort of drink theirs. You see, there's not necessarily like karaoke as such, but somebody on the far side almost joining in jumps up on the table, shots one of the umbrella-y looking ones that looks like Volu's, and does just start like singing like along with the bard thing, but just like in this deep baritone voice. So there's a bit of a party going on as the vibe is good. You would notice, interestingly, that there is almost like spectral discs shifting around the room that are echoing the music that is being played on the south wall. And just having been in the room long enough and you would have noticed these things. Lenny, you have noticed that there is just to the left of the driftwood bar, there is it looks like, if you imagine a door with the like flycatcher sort of beads that hang down, but it's made of vines, and it looks like it's like a vine wall, but painted above it says to leave you losers.
Okay.
Last ones to fall.
But yeah.
Brilliant.
And if you want to generally just have some fun, spend some time, see what's about, we can generally just do that.
Is there beer pong?
There isn't. There are a few games going on around the room. You see that there's so taking a look around, you can see there is some card games going on different tables. There is a group in the floating hammocks that are playing a dice game, but the dice seem to be like hitting air and settling it like in between the two hammocks, but they are sort of playing, and it looks like they are betting, but almost for some sort of, not like a full gem, but if you imagine like a shaving of a gem, it's like you would probably gather it's like spell materials, right? They're like, rather than betting with money, they're like betting with the powdered rubies and those sorts of things that they've got, because they're gonna have them anyway. And in one corner that might catch Dante's view, but not necessarily something that you can jump in on, you can see a set of students in one corner, and they are using repeated illusions to like have little fights, but like in turn order. They're like taking turn and like, shift this way. Okay, I'm going to shift this way. And if you get a sword, so I'm going to grow this. And it's like that sort of classic match, but on an illusionary with minor illusion, like over and over and over and over, like that sort of vibe.
That's brilliant. I would possibly want to sit or stand and watch the bard, watch the Eladrin. I'm assuming that my moths are quite comfortable in here.
Yes, they feel quite calm. And for Volu, Kanda hasn't noticed you or your group yet. They seem quite entranced, as you have seen them before. In the Feywild, they get quite entranced with the music. And what you would also notice as you're sort of watching, and Eleni, as you get a little bit closer. So for Eleni and the group, they're not playing a song you recognise, which isn't unnormal because you're in a continent that you're not from, so that happens fairly often. But for Volu, you actually recognise that it is a actual Fey song. And it's almost like a tale of wandering through the lost Fae, but it's like a joyous tale of how the longer you wander, the more you don't worry about things, the more you let the Fae take you along, and your path will be good, and you'll find new songs and new music and new parties, and maybe people get left behind, but you'll find the new ones again in the through the magic of the Fae. And it's this, sort of, but it is a legitimately Fae song, and Kanda is fully entranced within that. As you get a little bit closer, the Eladrin will sort of look up and give you a little bow, Eleni, as they continue to play. But you can see they're just sort of the work in the room sort of vibe.
Okay. Yeah, I would just be, beer in hand, listening to the music. Is there anybody over in those booths on the northwest side? You said there were
So
some curtains, some with curtains and
yeah,
some.
so the only one that you can see out in the open is the gift, who is sat with a human right now, and they just seem like sat back watching, taking in the scene almost. There are two curtains that are currently closed, that you can't see into, and there's maybe 5 booths in total, if that makes sense.
I suppose the last thing I was wondering is, are we standing out as obviously not students in this place?
I was meant to ask this. What age group of kind of education are we talking about here? Because, for example,
University style.
okay, so
Yeah, that's
so it's
what-
mixed. So it's mixed age then.
And it is so as you look around now, interestingly, yes, it is mixed age, but also for those, it is heavily weighted in the younger ages. And for Ichi being from here, you know that when the lyrics and Arcanum came into power 4 years ago, they made a big push, like representatives visiting the nomad clans to find those with magical potential, to take them into, like, they over the last 4 years there was a big push on like bringing in students and new magic users and all those sorts of things. So yes, the majority of them do look in the like 18, 19, that sort of vibe for their race. The halfling you would put, and especially for Volu that better understands halfling ages, you would say that they are sort of 21, 22. You think that they're probably senior, or maybe one of, like you have the permanent scholars, that sort of, they live on campus and study permanently, but they do other jobs for the university in general.
Okay. I think the only reason I asked is that, do you remember ages ago when we were trying to pretend to be students? There was something about people coming from outside and people not being recognised, and yeah.
You
It was-
definitely
it-
stick out as not students, but it's not like, so for example, the Eladrin doesn't look like a student.
Okay.
Kanda wouldn't look like a student.
Kanda doesn't look like a student. They just look like a furbolg in common clothes. There are a few dotted around, but if you imagine there are maybe 30-ish people in here, and 5 or 6 of them, including you guys, are not students.
Right.
So it's very, very heavily predominantly students.
Which you'd expect.
That's of course. As you get a little closer, you would see that. So you would hear, a bit of a crash and a bang at the bar. The music doesn't stop but quietens a moment, and you would, Kanda would sort of open their eyes and not jump back, but definitely take a quick look at Eleni, who wasn't stood there when they started dancing and listening. Not something they're not used to, but still good to check your surroundings after you lose yourself in the music for a moment. And Eleni, with your passive, you would recognize recognition. There's almost like they look at you, and there's definitely like I know you.
Can I insight her?
Yeah. As that's going on, there's a young human student sort of stumbles back, face flush red, having knocked over a bunch of drinks, holding a clearly empty coin purse and like digging in a pocket for some other stuff. The bartender sort of just lazily leans over the counter to start picking up some of the other things so they don't go with, but is mostly laughing. Oh no, darling, don't look so surprised. I told you, never bet against Goblin at dice.
That was a
especially not
14.
Especially not those two. They'll have you every time. Now, how about something, you got something to cover your debt with? And you would sort of hear them sort of pull them over to the side. you would have caught that, Eleni, even in the distracting moment. And for those that are still sat at your sort of still, are you staying sort of? Have you moved towards the table? Are you staying sort of sat in the comfy lounge area? Like, what have the other three gone for?
Ichi's going to be more like sticking with the comfy lounge, just kind of like watching the ambience and keeping an eye that way.
Dante, firstly, how long do these shots have effect for?
About 2 minutes.
Dante would be just doing silly tricks at first with his things,
Yeah.
just laughing. Gonna be having a mooch, but we'll return to everybody, kind of thing, just to have a look about,
Okay.
see other different things, and I don't know, maybe dance or sing or whatever.
Okay.
Dante is in a very free-spirited mood.
So I'd say that Volu, and sorry, Volu, are you sort of positioning over still with Ichi, or are you also wandering like Dante?
I would be with Ichi, but I would just be there listening and giggling at my own voice and just saying words like "ow, no, row, row."
Yeah, I like it. So I'd say that
in Spain.
Ichi and Volu, you would have picked up the interaction between the bartender and the student. Dante, you are distracted, having fun. With the 14 insight, there's no sort of. It's very matter of fact. It's just, oh, I know you. And then almost, Eleni, they start looking around the room.
How close am I to her?
Maybe about 5 foot. Like it's
Really
not like
close.
yeah.
I would, if I think they know me. Ooh, what would paranoid girl do? Okay. No, she'd say, hey, do I know you from somewhere?
No, I just have one of those faces. I think. They also they you would with that still running inside, you would get the impression like not here, like almost like not didn't see what they were looking for.
Okay.
For Volu sort of watching the scene, you would see that sort of Kanda and Eleni are sort of talking. But also that Kanda did sort of pop up and look around, but then just sort of pop back down again. Then I say, hope you have a good night. The bard here is wonderful. Maybe I'll see you later. They sort of give you a wink and sort of move over towards the. They move towards the hammocks, and you'd see that sort of as they move towards it, they sort of just reach up and touch the bottom of an empty hammock, and it lowers down to level, and they sort of climb in,
Okay.
get a drink, and just sort of be sort of lift up higher. For Eleni with the insight, they're playing it off as I'm just going to go lounge over here now. They're getting higher so they can see better.
Okay.
They're
I
trying
would
to
have
sort
I
of.
would have given her a really, really warm smile.
Hmm.
Just, like women in pubs do. Like, yeah, cool, see you later maybe. Like, really friendly. Maybe it's just northern women in pubs, but
Yeah, so they you would definitely see that they're still trying to get a glance around the room. What is anyone? So I'd say for Dante, as he's sort of moving around the room.
First drinking, being distracted, and a 9 perception.
True, but this is almost too out and obvious. It's for Dante, and I don't know whether he's figured out he's not very perceptive or not. But this is almost like a sales pitch to anyone nearby who's listening, right? It's that sort of brag vibe as you're sort of moving past one of the bar areas and maybe getting another drink, seeing what's over the other side of the room, and you're moving past the table and the booth that has the large GIF and the human at it. There is a small gnome that nearly bumps into you, and as they sort of like, I'm sorry, they're like fidgeting with a small leather pouch, and they look nervous or like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to bump you.
So you deliberately done that to me to see if I'm going to pickpocket him?
No, you said you weren't moving around the room.
Any distinguishing features of this little gnome?
No, looks to be maybe fairly young, maybe like just like fresh to the school sort of student, like freshman, right? Like that sort of. They are fairly small and skinny. They give you the sort of skin color gives you the vibes of the mountains around the deserts. Not sure, like no specific one, because there's a few around around the Astera itself, but it's that sort of same tanned, and there's almost like a dusty black color hair, charcoaly hair that's known for the gnomes that are the rock gnomes.
Well, hey, careful, little fella. What are you in a rush for?
And as you sort of saying this, a booming, almost cheerful, but Dante, you've heard this sort of vibe before, where it is. Tenebrice used to do this, utterly cheerful and disarming, but with a level of threat underneath that is, don't do not what I'm saying, right? Like as this voice, don't disobey what I'm saying,
Right. Okay.
As the voice booms out, and he goes, "Ollie, my lads, you're late. Sorry, friend." You see the GIF, brave, not standing, but sorry, friend. I have an appointment here with my little outquest. And the gnome, yes, sir. Yeah, coming, and they will sort of they do sort of nod their head and give you a look, Dante, but they are less concerned with saying bye to you politely and more concerned with going.
I'm just gonna brush them by. Just gonna go. Just think in my head, dickhead.
You would see that, and again, Dante, the GIF is the gnome is talking quite quietly. The GIF is talking loud enough that if you were to be passing, you would definitely hear. And you sort of hear them say, "Oh, that potion exam do okay, I hear. How did our little helper? It was not just an enhancement. I need more." Of course. You have, and they sort of pull out the coin pouch that they were fiddling with and move it over. Dante, there is an exchange that you won't be able to pick up unless you are genuinely trying and potentially getting caught doing so. But there's that pause that, again, you've sort of been in interactions like this where something's being handed, something's being counted, etc.
Yeah, dear, it's happening.
Um,
It's a pub. I've seen these things happen hundreds and hundreds of times.
I say, and you would sort of see the gnome starting to shift and get down, and then they sort of pause, and you would hear now definitely quieter, not announcing, and all the sort of facade of voice and cheeriness gone. With the you remember, if you get caught, you better not be saying my name. And then the gnome just sort of jumps down, and as they sort of sitting back into position, they look to Dante and sort of flash to a toothy grin and raise a drink towards you and continue with their evening.
Mm-hmm. Nothing more. So my part on that.
Okay. Other than that, the night begins to play out as you would expect, and
I am. Oh, sorry. I am keeping an eye out for the people we are here to meet.
and as you see different sort of, there's dances and moments where the DJ sort of you would see moments where they're casting things like fairy fire out over the dance floor to sort of make everybody glow and sparkle, or moments where everybody begins to levitate and float, and there's almost of it's you would gather that it is planned by the people who are definitely running the establishment, but it's almost sort of made to feel organic and natural, like it just spurred out of the moment, sort of thing. And you can see that off those moments, other students do then cast their own spells, and it sort of elevates a wave of illusion and magic and other things. And as it's maybe coming to about 11, you sort of expecting maybe to see something. There is a shift and a pop, and for everybody inside, there is like an explosion of the mangrove leaves that sort of fill the air like confetti before fading away like an illusion, as two more figures. And interestingly for you, this is the first time you've been on the inside watching people enter. From this end, it fires you at the cheer makes a bit more sense, as it is literally like you comet across the room in like an illusion of fire and smoke before landing in the corner at the other end. As again, people cheer with the landing, and you would see the people you are intending to meet as they sort of get up and dust themselves off and begin heading over towards the Driftwood Bar. That is where we will call part 1 of this episode. That's all right. I know we started a little late. It's only going to be an hour or so, but
Like we spent, say, the first half just getting pissed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much.
Some good roleplay.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining. As always, thank you very much for playing. If you're enjoying the adventure so far, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when the videos are coming out. And as always, roll well. Bye.
This is the end of part 1. Part 2 airs Sunday 7 PM GMT, or will be linked in the top right of your screen now. Thank you for watching, and roll well.